Welcome back, guys, to Boosh TV. So it's finally time to tell you guys a story of my time in Hannover 96, or at Hannover 96 in Germany. It was a 2.5 year story. I was there for 2.5 years. I learned a lot. I met a lot of people, made a lot of great connections, learned a whole new language. And there were a lot of things that happened through that 2.5 year period that I didn't share with anybody. So I just want to share with you guys because I think there are some very valuable lessons about playing overseas, especially playing in Germany, one of the biggest countries in the world for soccer or football or foosball, however you want to call it. I think this is a great story to share. So if you guys watched my previous story about how I signed my first contract at 17, this will definitely carry over from my last video, because that was when I first signed for Hannover, nothing else, just me at 17 signing the contract. I didn't go in depth about what happened right after. So yeah, you guys, stay tuned and I hope you enjoy. Alright guys, so to start off this story, I guess you just start off at preseason. And this is my very first preseason. I had never done a preseason with any team or ever gotten through the whole going to a training camp with my team and training for a set period of days or weeks, getting prepared for the season to start. I was still 17 and a half, so actually I couldn't even play until I was 18 because of the FIFA rules. I couldn't actually play until I was 18, so I was really just, my first 6 months in Germany were pretty much just trying to get my bearings so that by the time I turned 18, I'd be all comfortable, situated, accustomed to the style of play, and ready to go. So we get to the training camp. I'm extremely nervous. Like, when I tell you, I don't even know what was going through my head, man. I was so nervous. But the only thing I could do to calm my nerves was just to understand that this team signed me for a reason. That's what my agent kept telling me. My dad kept telling my mom. Like, they signed me because they believed that I was good enough, if not better than what I thought of myself, to be honest. So I went into training camp and I just understood that, okay, let me just play like I know how to play. That's exactly what I did. I did pretty well in the training sessions we had. We had some fitness sessions. I did pretty well in those. Some regular training sessions. I did pretty well in those. And it was a pretty good experience until the very first friendly. Now, the very first friendly, it didn't end as bad as it started, but let me tell you, it started as bad as a friendly could ever start for me ever. So essentially, I start the match. This is coming off of playing very well in the training games, in the training sessions, and I start the match, and we're playing well, passing it around, knocking it back and forth. Meanwhile, I'm extremely nervous. Like, this is my first match with the team, with the guys. I don't know German or anything, or any words about German, and I wasn't gonna leave this part out because I was like, I don't really want to tell them this because this kind of makes me look bad. But I was like, you know what, let me just be as transparent as possible. So this might have been like my 10th pass or something. So the center back played me the ball, and there's somebody coming on my back extremely hard trying to take the ball from me. So because I had nobody to pass to, because all the center backs were occupied with the strikers, I passed it back to my keeper. But I passed it a little bit too soft. Unfortunately, I did not take into account, I guess, how thick the grass was really. So I just played it back like how I would play, a normal pass back. And the striker intercepted it. I just ran onto it because it stopped right in between the center back and the goalkeeper. He intercepted it and scored. Now, this is my very first game with the team. After announcing that American has signed and he's here, he's playing, he's the real deal, etc. After all the good games I played in the trial and all of the things I did, and this is my first significant play of me being here, and it was, my head went straight down. I know you're not supposed to put your head down after you make a mistake, but I was still a kid. I was 17, and I had just made a mistake. To me, I thought that was like the biggest thing that anybody would remember me for being here, because that's like my first action, I would say, and it was just tough, man. My head was down. I was upset, and I just really couldn't grasp what I just did. I actually had never done that before in my life. That was my first time. I'd never misplaced a back pass to the goalkeeper or played it too soft. Just the nerves. I was extremely nervous, and I really couldn't handle it before the game started. But after that, I picked myself up. I realized, it can't get any worse than what just happened, and I just knew that, just play my game, it'll be fine. And about 2 minutes later, we scored a goal. So we tied up 1-1, and I was just, relieved, because I'm like, okay, at least I didn't cost my team the loss. I believe we scored another goal and we ended up winning that game. I think 3-1, but I'm not quite sure. But it was our first game together. I was happy, I guess. I wasn't really that happy. I was kind of upset because I really couldn't get over what I did. But, I mean, it happens. It's football. I was young. We make mistakes sometimes, so it is what it is. So after the preseason camp, we're still in preseason, but just that training camp was over. We go back to Hannover, and it's time to keep training and to start playing against, I guess, older men's teams. That's how they prepared for the upcoming season. They would play against men's teams maybe in the 4th division or 5th division just to get us prepared to start the U19 Bundesliga season. And once we go back to Hannover, I think it became like one of the hardest preseasons I ever had. It was extremely difficult. We had tour days every single day. I had to bike to training every day, bike to and from training, so my legs were already tired. Man, it was tough. It was hard, and I mean, I don't even know how I got through it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, bro, why are we doing this? It doesn't, like, why am I'm killing myself right now? And I was just unhappy. I was tired all the time. I was hungry all the time. I was just extremely upset. But not at the football side, just the fact that I was just exhausted. They literally were exhausting me. So we go through the preseason games. We play a couple other teams. I get a few assists. Now, because I couldn't play, these are the only games I could have, is all these friendlies. I couldn't play in the actual league, so this was the closest I could get to actually playing in any type of match. All right, so now that I'm back in Hannover and getting situated and moved into my room in the house, I stayed in the house with, I believe it was 3 other teammates, and then we had a house mom and then a house cook. And they were all great people. They all welcomed me really nicely. They all showed me around. They all helped me throughout Hannover, getting on the train to training. And getting on the train sometimes. We actually had somebody drive us there, but if we didn't have that person, we'd take a train. They showed me around. It was a great house. The house had like everything. Like it was decked out. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I didn't speak German. They didn't really speak too much English, so it's kind of difficult to hang around some of my teammates in the house because I couldn't really communicate with them. So I just tried my best to, smile, laugh, try to understand a little bit of English, German I could at the time, and just make it by like that. Alright, so now here's the part about where the season finally starts for the U19. Well, and the first team, the U23s, all of them. So the season's about to start, and I know personally that I'm not playing in any matches. Like I already knew that coming here. I wasn't going to play any games for the next 6 months. That's just how it is. I couldn't do anything about it. I'm not 18. My parents weren't going to move out there with me, so I could then play in games earlier. That's just how it was. I was by myself. I didn't really have anybody to, do anything with. But because I couldn't play in the matches, oftentimes in the morning I would train with the first team of Hannover, and then in the evening I trained with my team. And it became a routine almost that I'd probably train with the first team maybe 2 or 3 days a week. Or if not, I would train with the U23 teams in the morning, U23 team in the morning, and then the U19 in the evening. And it helped my development so much because I was learning from players that were miles better than me, like miles. It wasn't close. It was not close, I promise you. Like the skill gap was like, okay, maybe it wasn't this much, but it was like, it was a good amount. Like you could clearly see they were a much higher level. But they helped me a lot in the first team training sessions. They spoke English a lot better, so it was easy to understand them. I had a few guys in the U19s that spoke English. Like one of my good friends on the team, Lucas, he spoke English. So this is my first year in Hannover. So these are players that were born in 1996. So I pretty much spoke to Lucas and who else? Timo I spoke to a lot on the team. They just spoke English really well. So at the time, those are the people I talked to the most. They helped me out a lot. learning the language, helping me in training. They were on my team in trainings a lot just because they could speak English and help me through. So that's really how I got by in terms of my first few months in Germany without learning the language. So after a month of the season being started, I started taking German classes for about 2 hours a day, twice a week. So 4 hours a week I was taking German. And it was in the city. I had to get there by myself. Nobody took me. And this is when I really started to get my bearings of Hannover. Like, now that I have to travel by myself and do everything, get to and from the German school, and then go from the German school to the training grounds by myself, I really started to get accustomed to what life was like in Germany, how living in Europe really was. And I think this is where getting comfortable in Germany, this really accelerated how comfortable I got, because I needed to, get accustomed to everything around me as quick as possible, or else I would be lost. It was simple as that. I'd get lost. So once I started taking German lessons and I started learning German pretty quickly, like I was really getting the hang of it. The hardest thing about learning German was the articles. Oh my gosh, there's so many articles. Der, die, das, ein, bro. I couldn't even keep up. I was sweating in class, literally. It was just me and the teacher, and I was sweating just trying to figure how to use these articles properly, masculine, feminine, neutral. There was no rule to which one to use. It was difficult. I got it, but it's still a little bit eh. So after learning German, training all the time, not playing in matches, I got a little bit anxious and I got kind of frustrated because I was training really well and doing all these things, but I couldn't play in the matches, and it was kind of frustrating me because my whole life I've just been playing soccer, playing games. I was never just relaxing. I never just not playing. I was playing all the time, and it was just extremely frustrating to me at the time. I couldn't really cope with it. So I realized that I needed some place to, get my frustration out. And I wasn't really hanging out with guys on the team that much because they spoke German and I didn't, and I couldn't really converse that well at the time. So I talked to my mom, and I talked to the head coach and the sporting director, and I talked to them about going to an international school, because one of the kids on my team, or on the team below me, Fernando, he was going to an international school in Hannover, and I was like, yo, they speak English there, everybody there speaks English, can I please go so I can try to make some new friends and meet new people and really try to start enjoying my time there. And luckily for me, they finally agreed, and they worked it out with my parents where they would help support the finances for going to school, because it wasn't technically in my contract, but they were gracious enough to at least pay for 5,000 of it, and it really, helped me out, myself and my family out, to get me to go to school, to high school, and learn and make new friends in an environment that I was just not used to. So I go to school, and that is really where the story kind of starts. I think once I hit international school, everything starts moving a lot faster and taking a turn that I really didn't expect. Whether it was good or bad, you'll see in the next episode. I'm going to leave that for you guys to decide. And if you guys didn't see my other videos about how I signed my first contract at 17, I'll put a link to them over here, I think. Over here? Maybe it's over here. I don't know. But I'm going to put a little card over there so that you guys can click on that and see really how I even got to Hannover in the first place before part 2 comes out, because part 2 is going to come out quicker than I expect. And who knows what happens once I finally start going to international school. I think that's really the exciting part. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, if you did, like and subscribe this video. It would be greatly appreciated, because it really helps show people and get this video up higher on the search list as much as you guys can. Like it, let people know that I'm trying to inform everybody of what it's really like playing overseas in Germany and in Europe. And I just really hope you guys enjoy the next part. So yeah, be easy.